You know that dream where you finally buy your perfect retirement home and then watch your entire nest egg evaporate because you forgot about property taxes? Yeah, that's not a dream. That's Tuesday for thousands of retirees who thought they had it all figured out. The statistics are brutal. 70% of people over 65 will need long-term care that Medicare won't cover, nursing homes are charging over $100,000 a year, and that beautiful house you just bought with cash? It might be the worst financial decision you'll ever make. Today we're breaking down the 20 most devastating mistakes retirees make when buying their final home. Mistakes that turn dream retirements into financial nightmares. From paying all cash when you absolutely shouldn't, to buying a house that'll trap you when you can't climb stairs anymore. These aren't just minor oversights, they're retirement destroyers. And here's the kicker. Every single one of these mistakes stems from using the same mindset that worked during your career but becomes toxic the moment you retire. Paying all cash when you shouldn't. The biggest lie in retirement planning, that paying cash for your home equals financial security. Here's what actually happens. You sell your current house for $400,000 and immediately dump all of it into your new retirement home. No mortgage, no monthly payments, sounds perfect, right? Wrong. You just locked up your most liquid asset in the most illiquid investment possible. The real killer here is something called sequence of returns risk. When the market tanks in your first few years of retirement, and statistically, it will at some point, you're forced to sell investments at their lowest point just to cover unexpected expenses. That new roof that costs $15,000, you're pulling it from a portfolio that's already down 20%. Meanwhile, the person who kept a small mortgage at 4% interest and invested that cash? Their diversified portfolio is earning 7 to 8% annually, and they've got liquid funds for emergencies. Financial advisors see this constantly. Retirees who paid cash suddenly need $50,000 for medical expenses or home repairs. With no liquid reserves, they're either taking out expensive home equity loans at rates higher than the mortgage they avoided, or making devastating portfolio withdrawals that compound over decades. Overestimating your current home's value. Nothing destroys a retirement budget faster than fantasy math. You haven't moved in 20 years, Zillow says your house is worth $500,000, and your neighbor's smaller place sold for $450,000. You're planning your new life on that $500,000 windfall. Then reality hits. The actual market value is $425,000, minus 6% in real estate commissions, minus repairs the inspection demands. Suddenly, you're $100,000 short on your retirement home budget. This happens because online estimates can't see your outdated kitchen, the foundation crack in the basement, or that your neighborhood peaked 3 years ago. They're algorithms, not appraisals. Professional appraisers know your local market's reality. Which school district boundaries just changed? Where the new highway construction is driving buyers away? Why colonial styles aren't selling like they used to? The gap between expectation and reality averages 10 to 15% in most markets, but in declining areas, it can hit 25%. Ignoring the hidden monthly costs. The mortgage payment is just the appetizer. Wait until you see the full meal. Property taxes that seemed reasonable at $4,000 annually become $6,000 after 2 reassessments. That lovely HOA fee of $200 monthly includes a special assessment next year for $5,000 to replace the community pool you'll never use. Homeowners insurance in your new coastal paradise? Try $4,000 annually, plus separate flood insurance for another $2,000. These aren't one-time surprises. They're compounding vampires draining your fixed income. While your Social Security might get a 2% cost of living adjustment, property taxes are jumping 5% annually. HOA fees never go down, they only go up. Your affordable $300,000 home with a $1,500 monthly payment becomes a $2,800 monthly burden within 5 years. The research shows retirees consistently underestimate these costs by 30 to 40%. No emergency fund for home repairs. Your house doesn't care that you're retired. It's going to break down on schedule. The HVAC system has a 15-year lifespan. The roof needs replacing every 20 to 30 years. Water heaters fail, pipes burst, and foundations shift. Without a dedicated repair fund, every breakdown becomes a retirement account raid. The 1% rule isn't just advice, it's survival. A $300,000 home needs $3,000 annually set aside for maintenance. Sounds excessive? Tell that to the retiree facing a $12,000 HVAC replacement, $8,000 for a new roof, or $5,000 to fix sudden foundation issues. Older homes are maintenance money pits. That charming 1960s ranch? The electrical system needs updating for $10,000. Galvanized pipes are corroding for another $8,000. Original windows leak energy requiring $15,000 to replace. Missing tax implications of the move. No state income tax is the retirement planning equivalent of a carnival barker's promise, flashy, misleading, and hiding the real cost. Texas has no income tax, sure, but property taxes will eat you alive at 2% of home value annually. Florida seems tax-free until you realize the sales tax applies to services other states exempt. The capital gains hit surprises everyone. Yes, married couples can exclude $500,000 in gains from selling their primary residence, but what if your house appreciated $600,000 over 30 years? That extra $100,000 gets taxed, potentially pushing you into a higher bracket. State-to-state moves create tax nightmares nobody expects. Some states tax pension income, others don't. Property tax assessment methods vary wildly. That bargain home might cost 40% more in taxes than the previous owner paid. Underestimating transaction costs. Selling and buying homes in retirement isn't just expensive. It's a wealth transfer to everyone except you. Real estate commissions take 5 to 6% off the top. On a $400,000 sale, that's $24,000 gone immediately. Closing costs pile on. Title insurance, recording fees, attorney fees, inspection costs, budget 2 to 3% on each side of the transaction. Moving expenses destroy budgets, especially for long-distance relocations. Professional movers for a 4-bedroom house going 2,500 miles charge $9,500 to $14,000. The replacement cost trap gets everyone. Your old house had 30 years of accumulated stuff that fit perfectly. The new place needs different window treatments, different furniture configurations, different everything. Retirees report spending an average of $10,000 on new furnishings in the first year. Ignoring future healthcare costs, Medicare covers a lot, but what it doesn't cover will bankrupt you. Dental? Not covered. Vision? Nope. Hearing aids? Forget it. Long-term care? That's the killer. 70% of retirees will need it. 0% of traditional Medicare will pay for it, and the average nursing home costs $108,000 annually. The geography of healthcare matters more than any other retirement factor. That charming rural town might have a clinic, but when you need a cardiologist, you're driving 2 hours each way. Emergency services? The nearest trauma center is 90 minutes by ambulance. The connection between home choice and healthcare costs is direct. Buy a 2-story house, and you might need care facilities a decade earlier than if you'd chosen a ranch. Budgeting on today's income, not tomorrow's. Retirement income isn't a continuation of your salary, it's a cliff dive. You're going from $80,000 annually to maybe $50,000 from Social Security and pensions. Meanwhile, you're budgeting your home purchase like that income stays constant for 30 years. It doesn't. Inflation erodes it 2 to 3% annually, while your costs rise faster. If your mortgage, taxes, insurance, and HOA fees take 40% of your retirement income today, they'll take 55% in 10 years. Required minimum distributions at 73 forced withdrawals from retirement accounts, potentially pushing you into higher tax brackets and triggering increased Medicare premiums. Smart retirees build in a 25% cushion below what they can afford. Downsizing too fast after life changes, the kids leave, you retire, and suddenly that family home feels like a museum of memories you're desperate to escape. Slow down. Retirees who downsize within 6 months of a major life change report regret rates over 60%. The emotional whiplash of losing familiar spaces, neighborhood connections, and room for family visits hits harder than expected. That minimalist condo seems perfect until grandkids have nowhere to stay and your hobby equipment won't fit anywhere. The space you think you don't need becomes the space you desperately miss. Retirement experts recommend waiting at least a year after major life changes before making housing decisions. Letting dreams override reality. That Italian villa-style house overlooking the valley isn't just beautiful, it's a maintenance nightmare with a 45-minute drive to groceries and no flat surfaces for walking when your knees give out. The disconnect between fantasy and function destroys retirement happiness faster than any financial mistake. Real estate marketing targets emotional buyers, and newly retired folks are the most emotional buyers of all. The marketing shows couples laughing on pristine golf courses, not mentioning the $800 monthly country club fees. Creating a needs versus wants checklist sounds boring, but saves retirements. When emotion pushes you toward wants over needs, you're 3 years from regret and another expensive move. No plan for building social connections. Retirement kills your built-in social network overnight. No more workplace conversations or after-work gatherings. Move to a new location without a social replacement plan, and isolation becomes your uninvited roommate. Research consistently shows loneliness in retirement correlates with cognitive decline, depression, and earlier mortality. Communities marketed to retirees often miss the mark completely. They highlight tennis and golf, but you don't play either. The active adult lifestyle they're selling might be actively wrong for your personality. Look for communities with clubs matching your interests, volunteer opportunities aligning with your values, and educational programs stimulating your mind. Insufficient location research. The perfect house in the wrong location becomes a perfectly miserable retirement. You checked crime statistics and school ratings, irrelevant for retirees, but missed the important stuff. Where's the nearest hospital with a cardiac unit? How far to a pharmacy that delivers? What happens when you can't drive anymore? That peaceful country setting means 20-mile drives for groceries, 40 miles to decent healthcare, and no food delivery options. Cities with robust public transit or senior shuttle services preserve independence years longer than car-dependent suburbs. When mobility decreases, these locations become prisons. Moving too far from family. The freedom to live anywhere becomes the curse of living nowhere near anyone who matters. Adult children can't visit regularly when it requires flights instead of drives. When health crises hit, family support requires expensive travel and logistics instead of showing up immediately. The isolation compounds over time. Initially, you're healthy enough to travel back for holidays. Eventually, travel becomes difficult, then impossible. The geographic gap becomes an emotional chasm that video calls can't bridge. The compromise many find: move within 2 hours of family, not 2 time zones. Buying for today's body, not tomorrow's. At 65, those stairs are just exercise. At 75, they're a challenge. At 85, they're a death trap. Yet retirees consistently buy homes requiring young bodies to navigate safely. Multi-story homes become single-story prisons as mobility decreases. Master bedrooms upstairs mean sleeping in living rooms after knee surgeries. The timeline surprises everyone. You feel healthy at retirement, but arthritis progresses faster than expected. Balance issues appear suddenly. The house that fit perfectly at 65 becomes hazardous at 72. Modern universal design creates homes that are both beautiful and accessible. Wide doorways look spacious, not medical. Ignoring accessibility features. The average doorway is 30 inches wide. A wheelchair needs 32 inches minimum. This 2-inch difference determines whether you age in place or move to assisted living. Bathroom accessibility makes or breaks retirement housing. Standard tubs become fall risks. Low toilets become difficult with hip problems. The research shows specific features matter most. 0-step entries, 36-inch wide hallways, first-floor full bathrooms, and lever-style hardware throughout. Houses with these features cost 3% more initially, but save $30,000 to $50,000 in later modifications. Underestimating maintenance burden. That gorgeous acre of landscaping requires 10 hours weekly to maintain. The swimming pool needs constant chemical balancing and seasonal maintenance costing $3,000 annually. What you handled easily at 60 becomes exhausting at 70, impossible at 80. Hiring help sounds simple until you see costs. Lawn services run $200 monthly. Pool maintenance adds $150 monthly. Snow removal contracts cost $500 to $1,000 per season. Soon you're spending $10,000 yearly on maintenance you used to do yourself. HOA-maintained communities eliminate exterior maintenance stress with predictable monthly costs. Overlooking climate and natural disaster risks. Paradise has a dark side. Nobody mentions in real estate listings. California's wine country burns regularly. Florida's beaches face hurricanes annually. Insurance companies know what buyers ignore. They're pulling out of entire states. leaving remaining insurers to triple rates. That beachfront condo's insurance just tripled, if you can get coverage at all. Hidden costs compound beyond insurance. Evacuations cost thousands. Repairs have massive deductibles, often 2 to 5% of home value for hurricanes. Research your specific address. FEMA flood maps show risk levels, state insurance departments report carrier withdrawals, decisions, ignoring resale value and future flexibility. Your forever home probably isn't. Health changes or financial pressures force 40% of retirees to sell within 10 years. That highly customized house perfect for your specific needs becomes unsellable to anyone else. Purple bathrooms and converted garage workshops reduce marketability. Consider exit strategies from day one. Can this house be modified for live-in care? Would it rent easily? Could it be sold quickly in emergency? Retirees who consider resale value from purchase make better buying decisions overall, choosing locations with broad appeal and maintaining features future buyers expect. The thread connecting all 20 mistakes isn't just poor planning. It's the failure to accept that retirement represents a fundamental life transition requiring completely different strategies. Your accumulation mindset, emotional attachments, and assumption of permanent health all worked during your career but become liabilities in retirement. The house you buy isn't just shelter, it's the foundation for a 20 to 30-year phase with declining income, increasing healthcare needs, and decreasing physical capacity. Every decision, from location to layout to financing, either supports or sabotages this reality. The retirees who thrive understood that the biggest mistake is believing any single decision exists in isolation. Your retirement home connects to healthcare access, social networks, family relationships, and financial sustainability in ways that only become apparent when something goes wrong. The time to see these connections isn't after you've signed the papers, it's right now while you still have choices.